The events begin in a world where the hero once lived, a world completely destroyed by massive thunderstorms that filled the sky. Destruction and chaos spread, and monsters swarmed the land, fighting violently and relentlessly. People were forced to fight constantly against the monsters just to survive. The hero spent his entire life battling in fierce wars without rest. Despite wounds and exhaustion, the hero stood strong and defiant, staring into the horizon with unwavering will. The hero continued to face the monsters day after day, without a single truce. The battles went on month after month, with the hero fighting tirelessly. A full year passed as he grew stronger and more determined in the face of challenges. 10 whole years went by, but they felt like mere moments to him, as he kept fighting the monsters fiercely. With the power of his single sword, he was able to defeat any monster without fear. But that confidence was shattered when a terrifying beast appeared, one whose strength surpassed all previous monsters, and it defeated the hero with ease. The monster looked at the hero with disdain and told him to surrender, for the world he was fighting for had already ended. At the moment of his defeat, the hero thought that someone must be behind all this destruction, someone manipulating everything that had happened. This mysterious being said that the hero's strength and potential were a waste, and demanded that he become his sword and tool. The hero mocked the offer and rejected it with fierce determination. Despite his wounds, the hero charged forward with courage, attacking his opponent with all his might. The battle escalated fiercely as blows were exchanged between the two. The hero kept trying to block his opponent's powerful and brutal strikes. The fight continued with intense and savage attacks from both sides. The hero showed stubborn determination in the battle, despite his multiple injuries. But the clear difference in strength remained in favor of his opponent, who deflected the hero's attacks effortlessly. The enemy declared that no matter how hard the hero tried, he would always be weak in the face of such great power. The hero received a painful and brutal blow that left him unable to endure. He was thrown back with force, unable to rise again. Despite his fall and inability to move, he chose to continue the fight. The monster stood tall with confidence and arrogance, clearly victorious. The beast displayed its strength and greatness before the defeated hero, asserting its superiority. It launched a devastating attack that showcased its immense power, destroying everything around it. The hero completely collapsed, kneeling on the ground, exhausted and defeated. Meanwhile, the monster stood firm in all its might, staring at the hero who could no longer fight back. The hero noticed a mysterious pendant glowing distinctively, hanging from the chest of the massive beast. He stared at the pendant, clenching his fists as he tried to keep fighting despite his wounds. With great determination, the hero leapt high into the air and launched a swift attack at his opponent. The monster responded with an extremely powerful counterattack, once again demonstrating its overwhelming strength. The hero fell to the ground in pain, while the pendant began to crack and glow intensely as a result of his earlier attack. The monster felt immense rage and screamed in madness, calling the hero a bastard. The hero struggled to stand with great difficulty, just as the pendant shattered completely. The monster screamed in despair, trying to stop what was happening, yelling, "Stop it!" The monster's body began to fade away mysteriously, leaving behind a dazzling light that filled the entire place. The hero lay on the ground, gravely wounded, surrounded by destruction and ruin. The hero's eyes slowly closed as he stared at the sky, seemingly losing consciousness due to his severe injuries. He looked toward the sky, admiring the beautiful scene, saying it was a breathtaking and wonderful sight, referring to the clear sky where a meteor was falling rapidly. The scene shifts to another person, walking steadily on the ground. This person appears to be a young man in simple clothes walking calmly in a modern city. A large sign appears, indicating the presence of a Class B non-san gate, advising civilians not to pass and requesting heroes to register their ID and hero registration number to enter. The young man keeps walking, ignoring the instructions, as warnings are broadcast telling civilians to stay away. The young man reaches the Yongsan district in Seoul and stands in front of a large building. He suddenly jumps at an incredible speed and easily clears the wall. As soon as he crosses, a loud alarm sounds, warning of an unregistered person entering the gate. Loudspeakers issue a clear alert. Warning: an unregistered individual has forcefully entered the gate. The young man proceeds into a wide green area inside the gate and calmly looks around. He stands in the middle of this area surrounded by trees, seemingly unbothered by what just happened. Someone calls out to him from afar saying, "Hey, you there?" The young man turns cautiously toward the voice. A group of people approaches him, dressed in official gear, asking if he is lost. The group's leader says he doesn't know exactly what happened, but invites the young man to join them as they are heading out. The young man looks at them silently, unaffected by their words. One of the girls in the group notices his clothes and comments with surprise that he looks like a regular person. not a hero. Another member mocks the young man's simple attire, suggesting he might just be a luggage carrier. Another person in the group wonders aloud about the contents of the young man's large bag, expressing curiosity and disbelief. In the end, they scoff, saying he's probably just a baggage carrier left behind by the heroes who entered earlier, though they don't seem fully convinced by that explanation. The young man continues speaking with the group he encountered, explaining that he fully understands what they're saying, but he just arrived and doesn't wish to leave immediately. One of the group members responds with a mocking laugh, saying he had already told them the young man was careless and had been abandoned by the others. The group leader steps in with a serious tone, telling the young man that he has met many people like him before and understands exactly how he thinks when entering a gate. He goes on to advise the young man not to be reckless and to begin his journey in a low-level gate first, as what is shown in the media and online is very different from what actually happens. He also tells him to get a hero license and pass the test first, especially since the Namsan gate is classified as rank C. He recommends starting with F-rank gates instead. However, the young man responds coldly to the advice, saying he recognizes their good intentions, but isn't really grateful for their concern. The group falls into stunned silence, shocked by his rude and provocative response. One of the members becomes extremely angry, wanting to confront the young man for his apparent arrogance, while the others try to calm him down. Eventually, the group decides to ignore him, concluding that someone like him will only learn through harsh experience. The young man recalls in his mind what the leader had said about the danger of gates and how reality is much harsher than what people see in the media. Suddenly, a massive monster with a towering build appears directly behind the young man, threatening him. The monster lets out a terrifying roar, preparing to attack, while the young man stands confidently, not even turning to look, facing the incoming assault. His eyes turn a golden yellow as he calmly mutters that he has waited 10 years for this moment. The monster is taken aback by the young man's extraordinary ability and unexpected reaction. Then the young man launches a lightning-fast and powerful attack, easily defeating the monster. The beast falls dead to the ground, its blood spreading across the area. After killing the monster, the young man realizes that nothing has changed from his past memories. He still feels the same strength and resolve he always had. He stands tall amidst the smoke and remains of the battle that ended so swiftly. He picks up a weapon that had fallen from the monster and gazes at it with interest and focus. He stays silent, studying the weapon carefully as he thinks about what he should do next. He turns toward the monster's corpse, where a glowing, mysterious gate appears from the wound. The young man approaches the gate with confident, steady steps. Inside, he finds a low-grade magic stone and picks it up, observing it thoughtfully. He remembers that in the past, he would never have cared about such a modest item, but now he values it differently. Suddenly, he senses something suspicious and prepares with intense focus to face an approaching threat. He hears the sound of heavy, distinct footsteps rapidly getting closer. A new group of large, powerful monsters appears directly in front of him, ready to launch a fierce attack. The young man moves with incredible speed, skillfully dodging their strikes, then takes down one of the monsters with great ease. He continues fighting with great confidence, heading toward the remaining monsters as they charge at him with strength and ferocity, fully prepared to face them without fear or hesitation. Seo Dojun continued standing firmly in the face of the situation, while the group he had met earlier was walking away, unaware of what was happening behind them. The girl in the group turned her head, recalling the young man who had spoken to her rudely, and wondered if he was all right. She expressed her concern, questioning whether he might actually end up dead, which surprised her teammate, who didn't understand her concern for him. The group leader stepped in and pointed out that if the person was an intruder, then by now he would surely be pursued by agents from the control center. Indeed, control center agents were rapidly approaching the area, and it was clear that a Class C gate like Namsan required B rank or higher agents to handle such cases. The leader reassured his team that the young man wouldn't die as long as he didn't act recklessly and fight monsters, and his comrades agreed with him. At that moment, one of them mocked that the arrogant guy was probably trembling in fear by now, just waiting for the agents to come save him. But in reality, Seo Dojun was fighting the monsters with remarkable courage, landing decisive blows directly with his fists. He displayed incredible speed and skill in dodging and attacking, effortlessly evading the monsters' strikes. The monsters were stunned by Seo Dojun's speed and power, unable to react quickly enough to his abilities. Seo Dojun leapt high into the air with tremendous force and launched a surprise aerial attack on one of the monsters, then delivered a crushing blow that killed it instantly, leaving behind a lifeless corpse. Blood spread across the ground alongside the corpses of the defeated monsters. With visible confidence, Seo Dojun declared to himself that he had obtained 3 additional magic stones. then slung his bag back over his shoulders, ready to continue his path. He thought for a moment that the haul wasn't too impressive. So far, he had collected 12 low-grade stones and 16 of the slightly lower-than-average grade.